All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still the press coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN Television. And now we've been joined by our very own Samuel Ogunleke, who we also call Dokita Olamide. And together we shall be taking a look at the headlines we read out to you earlier. And like Dokita always says, he's an economist. Let's hear his own perspective of the fuel subsidy removal.
Good morning.
Dokita Olamide, how are you doing
Good
this morning?
Good morning. Happy New Month.
We wish you the same. Hope you're doing well.
Of course.
All right. Like you always say in your speech, you are an economist. The fuel subsidy removal has been on our national dailies for the past 3 days.
Yeah.
We want to get your own opinion. What are your thoughts?
Well, I will need to explain this subsidy to people in a layman's term.
Okay, and I think Dokita has brought us back to this. I feel like lots of people still don't understand what the subsidy is.
What the concept of subsidy really means.
Just it. I need to explain at the same time, explaining what is actually transpiring when it comes to fuel subsidy in Nigeria. Number one thing is fuel subsidy is just a help. Subsidy is just a help by government to relieve our citizens from paying exorbitant amounts on foods and services. For example, when you talk about cocoa, then and you talk about tea, you talk about this, you talk about that, you talk about what we consume. So government intentionally want to put something off our neck that will not just be paying exorbitant prices. So that is subsidy. Now, when it now comes to fuel subsidy in Nigeria, I want to give this analysis myself. I want to use myself as an example. While I was in school, during my university days, I am a busy type. I was a busy type then. I had a lot of responsibilities on me, shouldered on me. I worked with school radio station, TV, owned by school. I'm a unionist. At the same time,
an entertainer.
An entertainer, and I'm a tutorial master.
Okay.
Are you getting it? With that, all I do is just to buy foodstuffs at home. I have a brother staying with me.
Okay.
But my friends are so many in my house. Are you getting it? So I'll buy foodstuff. But my brother will not even have the privilege of eating much from that foodstuff before the foodstuff finished.
Get exhausted.
Are you getting?
Okay.
Are you getting this? Now, my friends were the one eating up
the
foodstuffs, and we came from different backgrounds, different homes. Many of them have their parents. I don't have parents sponsoring me. Now, I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop buying foodstuff, so that I'll be giving my brother the money as in food's money. So if you want to eat, I'll give you money in the morning. Okay. I'll give you money in the afternoon and in the evening, so that you'll be satisfied. You will not be complaining to me. I am buying this food stuff, but you are still complaining that you've not eaten. So why should I continue buying the food stuff? That is exactly what is happening in fuel subsidy. We are the owner, because my brother is the owner. My brother is supposed to benefit before before my friends. Even if I thought my friends will benefit. But now my friends are now the one benefiting 99% of what I am buying, what I suffered to buy. Just because I want him to live happily. I want him to be fed well, so that he will be able to face study. But now my friends benefited most. So I want to remove it. My friends were like, I don't want to be buying food stuff. So the first month, my friends were like, it's come, there's no food stuff, there's nothing else. And we are not living in the same room. Imagine,
just a visitor.
We're just co-tenants that actually loved ourselves. So why would you be coming from downstairs to upstairs to come and to the first floor to come and eat? It was 3-story building. I lived at the middle. So you will come from downstairs to the first floor to eat. Money, afternoon, I don't stay at home. So now I did not buy it. And they were making noise. Now my brother was making noise also. That I did not buy food stuff at home. I was like, I am doing this for you. So this subsidy is exactly the case.
Now, given this your analogy, now, you stopped buying the food, and you start giving your brother,
my brother,
the money. There are two things involved. Either the money you're giving him now, it cannot equate the value of the food he would have had if you provided the food. That's one. Then let's bring it back to the discussion here. Now, subsidy basically is taking out withdrawing the amount that the government is using to support Nigerians, and basically leaving the product to run on market forces,
demand and supply.
And supply. But then subsidy had long been taken off diesel,
on diesel,
on kerosene. Kerosene is still being sold for around 800 to 1,000 naira per liter right now. Diesel also goes around that
price
range too. So the question on the lips of Nigerians right now, you are taking out this subsidy for market forces to dictate the price. Will these market forces be people friendly?
Okay.
What are your projections?
Now, let me just tell you something that when you talk about kerosene, people say Nigeria government is not paying subsidy on kerosene, and yet people survive. We are not paying subsidy on diesel, and larger percent of Nigeria are actually using diesel. Company.
Most businesses in Nigeria run on diesel.
They survive, right? Now, the issue is this subsidy, just because it applies to almost everybody, every home, and that is why it is kind of not that easy for government to pull out totally. But now that we pull out totally, let me tell you that what we have in subsidy that people don't know is we are not the one enjoying it. Just whether you like it or not. But forgetting the bad part that I am an economist, I made an analogy while I was on the polity. I said while I was still young, very young like that, around age 20, 22, 20, I worked with custom in Ogun State. We do refer to us as Agile Custom. So the tanks of petrol that is leaving our country in a day, en route that is over 200 every blessed day. Now talk about, that was Ilara alone. Now talk about Ode Diroko, talk about Shaki, talk about Ijio, talk about Niger. So that means the money, what we have subsidized, these same marketers are not taking it out. So we're supposed to enjoy. And don't forget that they will deceive governments that we are bringing 100 liters. So government will pay the subsidy, will subsidize 100 liters, but they will bring just 30 liters. Out of that 30 liters, they are still taking over 20 liters out of Nigeria after being subsidized. Don't forget, that is double shares for them. When they were coming, they cheated us. Okay, sorry, triple. Number one, the money that we're supposed to pay is higher. The government is higher. Number two, they said they are bringing 100 liters. We subsidized 100 liters, but they brought 30 liters. So the money for 70 liters has also gone to their pockets. Another thing is, they now still brought that 30 liters. Out of that 30 liters, they are taking 20 liters out of Nigeria. That means they had 90% of what Nigerians supposed to enjoy. So if this has happened and Nigerians are seeing with just 10%, they can still manage, survive. So why should marketers still be complaining again? It was this complaint of the marketers. You know, it was not even the money that federal government was actually spending or is actually spending. It was the complaint of the marketers again that they still want to increase the price of with what is going on. And don't forget that people don't know. Larger percentage of the money that Buhari's administration borrowed was spent on fuel subsidy. So that means if this money is accrued to our purse, we'll be able to spend it. These lecturers that are fighting up and down, this ASU case wouldn't have been coming up. At least 400 billion in a month is not a joke. Not to talk of 1.something trillion naira every month.
So this is going to be a situation of, if you cannot afford to buy now as a marketer, you leave the market for the government to operate.
And apart from that, don't forget that these people should not misquote this present administration. This present administration did not remove subsidy. Don't forget, the former administration said, and quote it right, that they provided subsidy from January till June, that they cannot continue. It is not this present administration that did the budget that we are using.
Doctor, this brings me to the question: if the previous administration had made provisions for subsidy
from January to June
till June ending, why are Nigerians buy the products at 537 naira per liter right now?
Now the question is this: that is where I will actually let Nigeria knows that what we are having now is not from government. It's from Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria.
If we have a sitting government, and you go to NNPC filling stations, across Nigeria right now, you are buying the product at over 500 naira per liter, except places like Lagos where you are buying at 488. And now you are blaming NNPC is partly owned by the government. It's partly owned by the government.
NNPC had been privatized. Let's just take it like that.
And you want us to believe that the government is not responsible, and the government is not responsible for this. Now, let me make an analogy.
Okay.
If you know how the forex market and the crypto market operates, you know bulk of the activities that goes on there, is largely dependent on the news, not the event itself. The news, the projections that this thing is about to happen can affect the market.
Of course.
Look at the final 10 days of Buhari's administration. The stock market was on a continuous bull run for 10 days. Like the dollar kept on gaining, the naira kept on gaining against the dollar, in the hopes that something drastic, something magical will happen towards the end of the administration. Now, are you saying now that where we have a sitting government, the independent marketers will dictate the price, will set the price, and establishments partly owned by the government will bow to the price that the independent marketers has set?
Okay, let me just come in this way as an economist anyway.
Okay.
So you might actually understand. Let me tell you something now. When it comes to business, when you have your share and you're not having the larger share, there is a limit to what you can, to how you can dictate. That is the power of government. I am not saying, the question is, why should the price of petrol go up between, as in within 8 hours of the speech of the president, new president?
That was why I said,
now,
the issue is the stock market, largely, almost everything that happens there is dependent on the news.
On the news. Now, the question is this. The president just said that in the next budget that I'm going to, which is around October, November, I will not provide, there's no room for subsidy. So have we reached that time? Now, the fact is we've paid for June. Subsidy has been paid on June fuel that is currently in Nigeria. Why should the price just go up like that? You will see that government presently is actually sitting on a tight corner. That what I actually want the president, I will actually address if I happen to be the president, is one, there are tax force. That's the first thing. There are tax force. Since we have subsidized this, let tax force go around the nation. Anybody selling above until June 30, anybody selling above 198 naira, should be closed down.
Including
NNPC, including NNPC, because this fuel had been subsidized. Why are they selling it? Why did they agree?
Now, what we are saying now,
why did they agree on this?
What we are saying now is, if the government is not a complicit in this sudden spike in prices, in the prices of PMS now, why are we buying the products from NNPC at 537? And
NNPC Limited.
NNPC Limited. The government holds the largest share. So to a very large extent, the government calls the shot. So if you are exonerating the government,
I'm not exonerating the government. Don't forget that I just note the government now that they're supposed to actually do something, but they did not do it.
Now the NNPC that the government has the largest share is selling at
511. I can see
537 this morning.
I actually saw 511.
537 this morning in the FCT here. In this FCT here now. How are we going? How is the government intending to convince Nigerians now that they are not complicit in this? Let's not forget the fact that the NLC and the TUC just they had a meeting with the federal government that ended in a deadlock, that no conclusion, no resolutions were met. And part of the request of the NLC was that yes, the subsidies has been paid till June. Return the prices to return to the old prices till June, while negotiations are ongoing. Now, no resolutions were met. That is to say, the government itself is complicit in this sudden spike in prices.
That is exactly where that is exactly what I actually just said. That if government doesn't know anything about it, are you getting it? To me, as at now, government is actually not at fault. I accept that fact for myself, not for anybody, because the subsidy had been paid. But now, let's now go to government's establishment. Is an establishment that government had larger percentage of share. That why is your establishment agreeing with Eichmann, independent marketers, to sell the petrol that has been subsidized by you the same price other independent marketers will be selling it? Now, the question is this: who is the NNPC chairman? To me, for now, I actually said it yesterday, if I happen to be the president, I will arrest him immediately. For allowing that. I'll arrest him immediately. And I want Nigerians to know that.
But he also came out to say that Nigerians are just panic buying.
It's not about panic buying. No, Nigerians did that. They immediately, president actually uttered that statement. Everybody were rushing to filling station. But the fact that I rushed to you to buy something, does that make it a point of duty for you to increase the price?
Okay, hold it. No. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the press.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Your analyst there really hit it on the nail. Your phone, the analogy you gave, actually, this is talking about crypto and exchange in terms of information can drive price and other things. And you should not forget that it's different from the African issue, because in the issue of the market, nobody subsidized me as an investor in cryptocurrency, okay? Nobody subsidized me as a stock, somebody who invests in stock, okay? So if price fluctuates due to information, that's why it's understandable. But this one, for the market that is pure crime, they are just criminals, simple as it is, because already they must have been paid certain period of time. So the fact that the president makes an announcement that subsidy regime is gone, at least they should have abided by the contract, okay? Except if they have not been paid up to this extent, okay? They should have abided by the contract. So for that, let us not be beating around the bush. There's no any information that can drive them to not change. They are just criminals that are trying to bring a problem to the country. That's on the. Then again, you see, like the doctor was saying there, the this subsidy must just be removed. That is just the fact. And again, there's one thing I want to say here. This issue of whether
I think we lost him there. All right, back to our conversation.
Yeah.
Like our caller actually agrees with what you've been saying so far, that all of this is just people siphoning the government's money and doing whatever it is that they will. But I think at this point, people are still yet to understand how this subsidy removal will actually benefit the economy.
Okay, let me just come in that aspect. This subsidy removal, if judiciously spent or invest, let me use the word invested, if it is judiciously invested, believe me sincerely, all of us will enjoy it. One, let me tell you that now that the subsidy has been removed, most of these independent petroleum marketers would not want to be going out to be buying refined petroleum for long. They were doing it with joy because they know that they are going to shortchange Nigerians through government paying subsidy. Now they will come together. Now you will see that there will be partnership that they want to establish their own refineries.
Okay.
They will not want to go and buy from Dangote alone. They want to. Don't forget that Bua is actually processing his own now. Definitely. Now, if peradventure, don't forget that Dangote's refinery is actually now 60% in Nigeria, 40% abroad, which will actually affect our exchange rate positively, because the more you sell, the higher your currency. Now, the more you import, the lower your currency. Now, from that, all these marketers who also want to organize and establish their own by establishing refineries here on their own, Bua, and we have like 2 others. Believe me, it is sure that we are not going to be buying outside again. And now, whatever you buy from us, because you are buying the crude from us, you are not buying the crude from anywhere. So whatever you buy from us, you cannot just increase the price anyhow, because government will actually need to regulate the price. There's no excuse of the exchange rate again. You are buying with naira, you are selling with naira. So if you are buying 500 naira per crude oil per barrel, that means what you are selling for us should not, after all the process, should not be more than something around 100 naira per liter. With that, I know very sure that our economy will be stable. Forget about the money that we want to be saving on the subsidy first. Now, apart from that, exchange rate will favor us. We will not be buying dollar at 750 naira. We will not be buying dollar around, let's say around 150, like that, because we are selling out. And apart from that, employment opportunity will come.
True.
If there is employment opportunity, the level of dependence will be reduced, and by that we'll be able to save more. By saving more in banks, government will actually be able to get more revenue, and with that, road infrastructure, we are still coming back to the money generated from, as money accrued from removing subsidies. Are you getting it now? Now, apart from that, you now see people that are farming, enjoying, because instead of we buying a fertilizer at the rate of 5,000 naira or 10,000 naira per one, we are not going to be buying fertilizer at the rate of like 3,000, because exchange rates actually favor us. So foodstuff will be cheaper at the market, and everybody will actually be enjoying it. Now let's go back to education sector. The money, the money that will actually removed from subsidy, everybody knows now that we are removing at least 900 billion every month. So government cannot come and tell us again that the 900 billion, there's no money to fund education sector or to fund health sector. So the money that you are removing now, that NNBC is telling us that we are holding them 2.8 trillion naira. I don't understand. I don't really understand how. That was what they told President yesterday. Yes. Imagine, Kiari is telling us that we are still owing NNPC 2.8 trillion naira upon the refineries that we had, and they are not working. People are working there. We are paying them. You are sitting, and you are not even contributing to the GDP of this economy. So you see that all those gimmicks will be stopped. The gimmicks will be stopped. Nobody will come and tell us that we owe them money again. And if our refineries are not working, we have private refineries. You see that government will be able to stop those people working there. That since you are not doing anything for us. But for now, NNPC is still lying to government, to the president and ministers that okay, please, so at least these ones are doing so things. So government will not be able to just remove them like that. But now that we now have our refineries, will be able to be stable. Now let's not talk about ASU. NLC, I agree with NLC that said price should be brought back to normal until June ending. But I am not agreeing to them that subsidy should not be removed. No. NLC had been crying. Even all the candidates, except I remember, I think except Adewale Adebayo of the SDP, that said the subsidy will not be removed or something, it will be managed. Almost all of them said they will remove subsidy. And that is because they knew what is actually getting out of our purse. Now, NLC should go and sit down. If there is nothing to give them, they will still say they are going on strike. Now, if the subsidy is removed and they are not being pleased, then they can actually go on strike. ASU will be able to fix ASU problem. And when we fix ASU problem, then we enjoy our education. Go to federal institutions now. Universities. Like myself, I remembered at the tail end of my university, I was paying 40,000 naira. Not for, we still pay one stupid what do they call all this receipt stuff? Association clearance fees, form fees, departmental fees, and everything. Now, for everybody, I'm also part of the masses. I'm not collecting what can actually sustain me, but I know very sure that we can adapt within now and August. That Dangote refinery will be producing, because that will actually reduce the price drastically. You know that as in the amount of fuel that we are going to be bringing in is not much again. All right,
this takes me back to the comments our last caller there said, talking about the reactionary acts of the market and the forces. And what I'm trying to say here is the fact that you see, to the independent marketers, just the idea that Dangote refinery will begin to supply the product to Nigeria by August, it will send them back to their drawing board.
Of course, yes.
Now, take a look at the Russia-Ukraine war. Take a look at the Russia-Ukraine war. Just when it started coming up as a rumor that Russia was planning to invade Ukraine, it affected the stock market. There was no invasion yet. It affected the stock market. It affected it affected the world economy. Oil prices
even
crashed.
United Kingdom is still battling with it now.
So largely in a capitalist economy, which is what about 70% of the whole of the world runs. Largely everything that goes on there is largely dependent on the news. If talking about the subsidy removal now, if the president did not make mention of it during his speech, we wouldn't have been here.
Exactly.
Because new findings show that even that very statement was not even contained in the speech that was given to him. So it brings us to the point where we are now asking now that the new administration is towing this part where they cannot reconcile simple policies like marrying the prices of the product. What they are giving out and what they are selling.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Fortuna. I'm calling from Akura.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. How are you doing today?
I've been alright. I'm fine. I've been trying to call, but my call is not coming. Thank you, KAFTAN, for giving our opportunity to air our view.
Thank you.
I want to correct the impression about Dangote refinery making petroleum cheaper and providing jobs. let me just give you one instance as to why that will not help in reducing the price of petroleum price in the market. How has Dangote cement? How are we Nigerians buying Dangote cement? And how has it?
Oh, I think we lost that call also. Please do call us back. We hope to hear from you and get the rest of that to your contribution.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, now, so if the government cannot marry their policies together with the independent petroleum marketers, how do they win the trust of Nigerians on what they have promised to do with the monies taken out from the subsidy?
Before you go into that, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, beautiful morning to you, Sandra. Mr. Francis, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Samuel, good morning. You are on to SND from Lagos.
Good morning, Mr. SND. How are you doing today?
Yeah, well, I'm cool. I'm doing pretty well. Let's quickly respond because I'm faster. And then, first of all, I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party. And that's number one. Secondly, we all know that the outgoing government projected June to be the date of the subsidy issue. Maybe the present government just emphasized on this issue. But what I want us to understand, like I always mention, we need general societal reorientation. Believe me, pronunciation does not mean that you should put everything in active. There are some certain processes which are supposed to be followed, and which we never see that and we never witness that. I hope and pray the government will do something on that. Secondly, what happened with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission? What happened? We know all the mandate of that agency is to protect the consumers and to promote the economic activity in the nation. What happened with that agency? And I strongly believe each and every state has this CPC. We're talking about federal, and each state has CPC, which is Consumer Protection Council. That is by the way. And then I don't know when the law has changed that NMTCL has the power to regulate price on fuel. I don't know. What is the fear? These are the things that we need to put in place. Why are we hearing only labor? Are we good to go on strike at this crucial time? I expect the president, at least looking at his antecedents, to have this what I feel as economic resolution team before all these things, so that at least Nigerians will know, yeah, we have some relief even if the subsidy has been removed. So the question is, what happened with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, and what happened with the CPCs in all our states? Why are we not hearing from them? What is wrong with them? Thank you very much. I'm SND from Lagos, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Now, concerning the question that you actually asked, that is where we now come back to government. That this government must be proactive. I don't know what exactly reasons President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will give to Nigerians for not have been able to say something concerning the regulation of the price till now, since 3 days ago, because we know very sure that when something happened in Lagos like that, between EFCC and DSS, immediately he ordered them to. So what is actually delaying, though we cannot actually castigate him yet, because it is still early in his administration, and he will still need to study some things, because what he actually said was not what it's not actually a policy about this subsidy. It's not actually a policy. It is just that having in mind that, okay, fine, since I heard that these people have removed, they have paid to June, and they said we cannot continue, and with what I've saw this so far, I'm not going to put it in my own budget too. So that is not enough reason for all this that we are experiencing. And I know very sure that it has negative effect anyway. It has a lot of negative, because as now I heard that some of establishments, private establishment, has started trying to cut down the number of their staffs, which will actually affect negatively. But all I just want the president I don't think we have, if we have presidency now, fine. But if you don't have presidency, presidents should talk now. Regulate this price until June. We will know that we are going to suffer between June and July alone. So that by the time this refinery starts working effectively, then we'll be able. Somebody actually said Dangote has been producing cement, salt, and everything, and we are not enjoying it. Let me tell you, this is not the case of petrol. Dangote that is producing salt, producing this. Government is not the one producing what is using for salt, but now is buying from government to refine it. So you cannot buy from government, refine it, and still sell back in that same country with another currency. So you sell in naira. So and when he's buying in naira, selling in naira, is going to reduce, the price is going to be reduced compared to bringing it from another country. That is what I want us to know. And somebody will be comparing rice, Nigerian rice with foreign rice. That okay, Nigerian rice is actually a way costly when it's come to expensive than the one being imported. But you can't. The only thing is we don't have enough. And when we don't have enough and the border had been closed, don't forget, when we don't have enough, there will be price increase, because a producer can only control one out of the price or the quantity to be sold. So you can only control one. So if they so far they control price, they believe that okay, let us control price first, which is normal for every established, every business owner. After controlling price, they see that their quantity is not reduced. Instead of that, it's increasing. And since they have seen that it's increasing because of the border closure, then they continue with that. But with this one, border is not closed to petrol. So Dangote cannot take two things at a time. You rather take price or take quantity. So which I know very sure that if that 60% has been given to us as they have said in book, then we should be sure that we are going to get better. And the government must be proactive in regulating this price. This price is too exorbitant. This is okay. Now, what will now happen? Would government remove the subsidy that they had paid? Will collect back the subsidy he had paid for June? Why NNPC told us? NNPC should remember that they have told us the day before yesterday that the fuel that they have in their tank can last for the whole June. So that means the subsidy has been paid for the whole June. So if they are not returning our money back to the government purse, then government should be proactive and reduce the price or regulate the price.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olamide. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I know that lots of people have gotten more insight on this particular conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
All right, with that, we'll draw the curtain today on the press, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN Television. Till we'll come your way tomorrow, I am Sandra Ago.
And I am Francis Adeniyi. Have a nice day.